Hello again! Welcome to the next episode of Addicted to Deidre. Ted, you had asked me my worst dating experience. I figured, why not several of them? Hey, I should draw them out. Here are my worst dating experiences. Let's start back in high school. I used to have red hair back then, so that's me. I used to really love hanging out with groups of guys who had never talked to females before. I'd be like, let's hang out! There was one guy in particular who was really shy and never said anything to me because I was female, so obviously I said, let's hang out, let's be friends, and that made him happy. We hung out a few times, and then his friend, who thought he was really cool, said, oh, you should totally ask Deidre out. He's like, okay, and I overheard this conversation. Later, we were driving to the mall in his car, and his hood was down, so it got windy, and my hair got really messed up. The guy said to me, you look really embarrassing, so you should put this hat on. His friend left me and the guy alone in the car, and he stared at me for a long time, and I said, is there anything you want to say to me? And he said, no, and it was just uncomfortable. Later, we were at his house, and we were sitting on his couch. He just kept staring at me really, really awkwardly and silently, and I kept saying, is there anything you want to say to me? He'd say, no. Later, his friend burst into the room and said, oh my gosh, he's been wanting to ask you out forever, will you go out with him? And it was super uncomfortable, and I just kind of stared, and I said, I think we should just be friends for now. Then his friend gave me a ride home and said, oh, if you're not going to go with him, you go with me. And that really made me mad. I thought, you were the worst friend ever. The worst part, though, was that the guy would just stare at me. He'd never say anything, and I'd say, do you want to talk? And sometimes he'd be about to say something, and then he wouldn't. Many months later, I was dating somebody else, and the guy came up to me in front of my boyfriend and said, oh, are you ready to go out with me yet? And it was really uncomfortable. To this day, he still texts me once a year saying, are you ready to go out with me yet? Flash forward to my freshman year in college, there was this senior guy that I had a class with. Let's call him Bob. I had a little bit of a crush on because he's really attractive, and my roommate said, oh my gosh, you need to go out with him. So we started dating. I quickly found out we had absolutely nothing in common. He was obsessed with money. I was completely broke. He thought poor people were stupid, and here I was going to school to be a social worker. He loved partying, and I didn't even drink alcohol. One day at 2 in the morning, he called me up completely drunk, saying, I'm lost, I don't know what I'm doing. I got really worried because I thought he was just drunk and about to die somewhere. I woke up my roommate because I wanted someone to help me out, and we are tiny people. We were about 5 feet tall, we were really short, so we put on all this puffy clothing, thinking we could be really tall, giant, scary men, and we went out looking for him. We were really scared, and we had to walk because we didn't have a car. We went to the place where he said that he was not there. Then I see him stumbling down the road with one of his friends, and I got really angry at him because I thought he was alone, but he wasn't. Bob was huge, like 7 feet tall, and so was his friend. So me and his friend were trying to help him stumble home, and I was this tiny midget next to him. And he kept screaming irritating things like, I'm gonna go with this redhead, and you go with that blonde, and everyone was just uncomfortable. Shortly after that, he was the one to break up with me, which completely crushed my soul because I am so much of a better person than him. I should have been the one breaking up with him. Flash forward another few years, I had shaved my head, so that's me. I was single at the time, and I was learning sign language. I was pretty good at it, but still learning. I went to a deaf party with a friend who I was not dating, but that friend definitely wanted to be dating me. And this person's friend, let's call her Sharon, saw us come in together and knew that my friend wanted to be dating me. I was having a really good time at the party. I was signing with people. I was feeling really awesome about my skills. And I started to flirt with one deaf person in particular. We were having a really good time, and we started to drink out of the same water bottle, and of course, Sharon saw all of this. She immediately steps in between us, and she works as an interpreter, so she was trying to interpret for me, even though I didn't need it, and it really made me angry. We still exchanged numbers anyway. Nothing ever really came of that relationship. But as a funny aside, it is hilarious trying to text with someone who's deaf because the grammar is completely different. So the sentences would say, weekend adventure, I go in camp Sunday to Tuesday. I would have to sign out the words to myself to figure out what it meant. Flash forward again, now I had brown hair, and I was dating Jason, but then we broke up. It was a really sad, depressing time in my life, and a few months went by and I realized I had made a huge mistake. So me and Jason started talking, hanging out as friends, and then we talking about maybe getting back together, and I was really excited about it. I decided to ask him out again on his birthday. We went out to eat with a bunch of people, and I was really happy, but everyone thought we were still broken up, so our friends sat in between us, and this made me really sad. We kept exchanging these glances the entire evening, and then after dinner we played some games, and it got really late. It was a lot of fun, but after the party ended, I had to drop my roommate back off, so I had to drive my roommate back to our place, and then go to the store because I want to get flowers for him, and then go back to his place again. It was after midnight and not even his birthday anymore when I asked him out again, but we were very happy about it. I'm very excited to say I've never had any bad dating experiences since then. My question for you: pick a few professions that you believe are underappreciated. Tell me all the reasons why you appreciate those professions. I have a challenge for you if you're willing to accept it. Do not use the word "the" in your response. Until naked.